The Virginia governor's race is tightened between Abigail Spanberger and Winsome Sears, with the former being humiliated in an insane debate performance where she flopped nearly as bad as Joe Biden. Before you even start the video, drop a like, give me a follow, and or subscribe.
Jay Jones says he wants to put 2 bullets in a political opponent.
Let your rage fuel you.
Jones says he hopes an opponent's children die.
Let your rage fuel you.
Now, Spanberger continues to support Jones.
We deserve an attorney general who will stand up for the people of Virginia.
Abigail Spanberger. She stands with him, not us.
That he must leave the race because Jay Jones advocated the murder, Abigail, the murder of a man, a former speaker, as well as his children who were 2 and 5 years old.
Messages talked about shooting the Speaker of the State House,
saying he would put 2 bullets in Gilbert's head.
3 people, 2 bullets, and wishing violence upon his children.
He wished Gilbert's wife could watch her own child die in her arms.
You have little girls. What would it take him pulling the trigger? Is that what would do it? And then you would say he needs to get out of the race? Abigail, you have nothing to say? Abigail, what if he said it about your 3 children? Is that when you would say he should get out of the race, Abigail?
Whew, boy, man, that was an uncomfortable silence there. I mean, you could literally hear the crickets in the background. And it only becomes more uncomfortable as the debate goes on.
I don't understand why you just can't come forward and say he needs to go. I mean, we're talking about murder. We're talking about someone's life being taken from them. Have you nothing to say about that? Are you not going to address it? Really, you can't go any further. You're a governor. You're supposed to stand up for all the people. Are you saying political murder is all right?
Fallout in Virginia continues to grow.
Jay Jones is facing pressure to drop out of the race for Virginia Attorney General.
Now the floodgates have really opened. We're seeing some local Democratic candidates backing away from him.
But Abigail Spanberger has refused to call on Jones to pull out of the race.
Mark Warner, Abigail Spanberger, they haven't called on him to drop out.
Pressure is going to build likely on Abigail Spanberger.
It's a problem for Abigail Spanberger.
I think there are many independent swing voters who are going to see that as some kind of failure.
Abby Spanberger is going to have this issue chase her until she calls on Jones to step aside.
Should you be the Attorney General of the state if you called for the murder of your political opponent? Nope, but that's not basic for Abigail Spanberger.
What she's doing is trying to game out what's best for her, not what's best for Virginia. And this man, Jay Jones, he cannot be Attorney General. I cannot believe that there's not one single Democrat who believes that that's not the way to go.
Should transgender girls who are biological males be allowed to use girls' bathrooms and play on girls' sports teams? You have 60 seconds.
I'm a mother of 3 daughters in Virginia public schools, and nothing is more important to me than their safety and their experience in schools. I'm also a former federal agent, and I work to investigate crimes against children. And so nothing is more important to me than the safety of all of our children. And that work, in part, has earned me the endorsement of Virginia's Police Benevolent Association.
Tell Steve
Ms. Earl Sears, Ms. Spanberger is talking. Please let her finish.
On issues related to what's happening in our schools and each individual community, I think it's important that we have parents and teachers and administrators making decisions about their individual schools, not politicians.
Well, if that's not the perfect example of evading the question I've ever seen, I don't know what is. Let's try that again.
Once again, the question was, should transgender girls who are biological males be allowed to use girls' bathrooms and play on girls' sports teams in K through 12? You have 15 seconds to clarify.
In cases across Virginia, I think it's incumbent upon parents and educators and administrators in each local community to
Nude
make
men in
decisions
locker rooms.
locally.
That's what this is about.
Ms. Earl Sears?
There should never be
We're gonna get
nude
to you in a
men
moment.
Oh
in
my
locker
goodness,
rooms.
we finally have her saying that, but you voted for that.
Glenn Youngkin announced his policy to block student access to locker rooms and bathrooms that don't match their biological sex. Spanberger wrote that mandate rolls back the rights of kids to be themselves in schools.
Every chance she gets, she votes against parents, and she allies herself with people like Elizabeth Guzman, who wants to put parents in jail.
Ms. Earl
Have
Sears,
you finally
Ms. Earl
said
Sears,
that
you were
now?
just intruding on
Are
time
we in
here.
agreement now? Are you
Ms.
going
Earl
to
Sears,
tell?
This is Ms. Spanberger's time. I have a follow-up question for Ms. Spanberger. Would you rescind the Youngkin administration policy requiring boys and girls to use bathrooms aligning with their biological sex? You have 30 seconds.
My priority would be to ensure that local communities, importantly parents and teachers
That's
and
a yes or
educators,
no.
are able to work together to meet the unique needs of each school and each community.
The reality is that we have multiple jurisdictions who believe they are following the letter of the law.
And that is
privacy.
important. And I say that as a mother of 3 daughters in Virginia public schools.
Exactly.
And as someone who used to investigate crimes against children. The way that we keep our children safe is by ensuring they are safe in schools, which includes funding law enforcement and public safety.
But Ms. Spanberger, the question was, would you rescind the Youngkin administration policy requiring boys and girls to use bathrooms aligning with their biological sex? You have 15 seconds to clarify that question.
Yes.
And my answer is that in each local community, decisions should be made between parents and educators and teachers in each community.
Circumstances where there are conflicting evidence or conflicting interpretations, the reality is the federal government has to be clear in what is the real guidance available to our schools as it relates to use of locker rooms.
It shouldn't be dictated by politicians.
Please don't interrupt. We're coming to you next.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Spanberger. Ms. Earl Sears, you say that you do not support biological males identifying as females playing in girls' sports and have pledged to sign legislation restricting bathrooms by birth sex. Does this position discriminate against transgender girls? You have 60 seconds.
I'm not for discriminating against anyone. What I'm saying is just very plain common sense. And I'm going to answer the question my opponent refused to answer, which is simply this. I will not rescind the governor's executive order. We know that girls want to have privacy. It's really that simple. And my opponent will not answer the question because she voted for men nude in girls' locker rooms, in bathrooms, and in girls' sports. She will refuse to protect our girls in Title IX, which is simply, an opportunity for girls to have their safe space. This is not hard. Are you going to change in a gym where men are nude in the locker rooms? Are you going to do that, Abigail?
Ms. Earl Sears.
I don't think you will. What about your girl children if they came home crying and said that
Ms.
there
Earl
was
Sears,
a male
we're gonna
in
do
the
a
locker
follow-up
room?
question with you.
What would you do? My opponent, on the other hand, has the extremist view, which is abortion up until the very hour that the baby could be born, up until the very minute. And so you would have a baby aborted on the table. What do we do then, Abigail?
Ms. Earl Sears.
What do we do with a full live baby aborted on the minute it could be born?
Ms. Earl Sears, I need you to ask the question that I'm asking. I'm asking the questions here, and so I want to know about what would you advocate for in terms of a limit. I know that you just said it's not about your view, but you will have veto powers if you became governor. So what would you be willing to support as governor?
So you
have 30 seconds.
So I've answered the question. I've said it's not my view. It's going to be what the majority of Virginians want. And by the way, there's a constitutional amendment, and the voters will make that decision.
Thank you, Ms. Earl Sears. Ms. Spanberger, you say you want to keep Virginia the last bastion of reproductive freedom in the South. Do you support any limits on abortion? You have 60 seconds.
When the Dobbs decision was made, it was very quickly clear that state after state would move to restrict abortion access, as my opponent has previously supported. In states where they further restricted abortion access, women have died. Women pregnant with very wanted children, women with ectopic pregnancies were sent home, and women have died. If my opponent were to become governor, that is what she would inflict upon Virginia.
Ms. Earl Sears,
I support the Roe
Virginia's voters
standard.
Cannot hear if you're talking over Ms. Spanberger.
I support the Roe standard. I support the constitutional amendment that is moving forward that makes clear the
Ms. Earl Sears, it's difficult to hear Ms. Spanberger if you're talking over her.
I support the Roe standard, which is what this codification of a constitutional amendment moving forward would be. That's what I will support as governor, though I will not have a vote on it. I will support it. But importantly, my opponent has threatened murder to women who have had abortions. That is not the type of leadership we need here in the Commonwealth.
You're out of time. I just want to follow up.
I need a rebuttal.
Ms. Earl Sears, I have to follow up right now because it was difficult for me to hear Ms. Spanberger, and I need to make sure that I have clarity on her answer. So just to be clear, are there any limits that you support in terms of abortion access, including for minors? You have 30 seconds.
I support the current laws within Virginia, which include limits on minors obtaining abortions, which include limits after the second trimester. I support those, the current laws here in the Commonwealth of Virginia, and that is what is moving forward as a constitutional amendment here in the Commonwealth of Virginia.
Thank you, Ms. Spanberger. We are now going to move on to immigration.
I thought I was going to get an opportunity to rebut.
We're moving on to other topics. We have a lot to cover tonight, Ms. Earl Sears, so we'll get to you in a moment on a different topic.
Absolutely, local law enforcement, local resources should and must be employed. That is why, as my opponent has somewhat erroneously said, I never, ever would support making Virginia providing any sort of sanctuary policies here, because local and state law enforcement must always work with federal agencies when there is a warrant. Importantly, what I have been talking about, and anytime there is someone with any level of criminality, someone wanted for a criminal offense, absolutely that cooperation shouldn't just occur, but it must.
And I have been quite clear in the fact that I oppose any sort of mandates that require localities to, frankly, do the work of ICE officials.
I'm just going to say, folks, go to SpanbergerLies.com. I think we're about up to number 10. She's accused me of murder, which is very interesting because the very person who spouted murder, you won't even say that they should get out of the race. And now you're talking about this? My goodness gracious. We have found 4,000 illegals who are criminally here. And the number 3 MS-13 gang leader here we have found communist Chinese gangs here. We have found cartel members here. And they're here because my opponent did not vote to shut down our borders. And because of you and that vote, fentanyl came across the borders and killed 5 Virginians every week. Where were you when we needed you for that vote? And then out of your own mouth, Abigail, you have said the first thing you're going to do is to make Virginia a sanctuary state. I didn't say that. You said that.
Ms. Earl Sears.
That's your lie if you're going to say that.